We are live.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Steve Walls here alongside Darren Smith, live from the Hilton Frankfurt Airport inside of Frankfurt, Germany. Darren, man, we had a great time earlier today.
It'll be an
Just
interesting time.
interesting time covering the Chiefs. It's their first media day for their ensuing game coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, the one and only, actually. The Chiefs just got in town today. Probably rode around to the airport, to the hotel to drop their stuff off, and then came over to DFB campus. I'm not sure, what the name of the college or
I looked it up, but I couldn't figure it out either.
Yeah, and so we got a chance to film them for about 10 minutes or so just to look and see what they're looking like. But the players, they seem to be real excited about being here in Germany. So, I think fans can look forward to a high-spirited game on Sunday. And, of course, we did get a chance to talk to Andy and the players after their practice today.
We did, and I know my main question for all of the players and Andy and Patrick as well, was the fact that, all of you guys have played in, international games. As Travis, he's played in 3, including the 2015 London game, and then of course everyone else in Mexico, other than Justin Reed. Justin played in London as well last year or 2 seasons ago.
Chris didn't play in when he in 2015. Chris
was
Jones?
not in 2015.
Okay. Oh.
So and I mean, they all talked about focus and. I get the fact that they're focused, right? But what about the younger guys that have not played an international game? What'd you hear from them?
Well, they compared a lot of it to being in the Super Bowl last year. Just the size and the magnitude and what you're going to get crowd noise and stuff like that. Right. I think for the most part, if you haven't traveled internationally before, I think what Andy and some of the veterans said is more so an adjustment in how you treat your body. Make sure you get the proper rest, get the proper nutrition, stay hydrated. I think that was the biggest key that Andy and them talked about is being hydrated going into Sunday's game. And if they can do that, then, everything else will take care of itself. But that's pretty much what I got from the players today is just that not really changing up the routines that you normally do. They did get a chance to, as Chris Jones said, the players got a chance to get the seats that lay back and lay flat into a bed and put the coaches in the back. So, so shout out to them for being able to get the good seats.
And you think about this, they come from a loss last week against Denver. And they mentioned that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a lot of questions other than Taylor Swift, the Taylor Swift questions, yeah. But you come from a Denver game in Denver on the road and you lose. And a game that folks are like, oh, well, this is a game that you guys shouldn't have lost. They felt like they shouldn't have lost. Travis talked in his podcast earlier this week. It's like, oh, the offense is not clicking in so many words is what he said. And so what do you feel like they need to do going forward? Is this, a lot of people got upset with me because I asked, was it a domino effect? Which
actually,
is a legit question.
I'm not sure. Well, first of all, it was a good question. I was right there next to you when you asked it. It was a good question. It's a legit question because, again, as you eloquently mentioned, it was a game that everybody expected them to win. I think they expected them to win. I think, to an extent, they might have looked past, Denver to get to this game because they felt like we won 16 in a row. We can just go in and. And
now that you say that, I that makes more sense because Patrick talked about he had this game circled on his calendar, which means it's a huge game.
Yeah, and so, but go back to your thing about with Travis, because I think, I think you followed up after my questions that when I asked about the drops, because somebody initially asked about the drops, and I followed up asking them what does he attribute the drops to. Now I was talking about the wide receiver core as a group, and I think he kind of took it upon himself just to talk about himself, to where, I asked, was it a lack of discipline, lack of practice, what focus, things like that. And so he did agree, or he did concur that, some of that was the case, about the focus and stuff like that. But as a leader on the team, he did take charge and take the blame on that. But I want to make sure that, because these drops happened in week number 1, and here we are week number 9, and it's still kind of going on. Yeah. How do you make sure that it doesn't continue to happen going into Sunday's game? Because we joke about it, but if you look at some of the odds going into the game, we just look at the wide receiver stats. You got MVS, you got Sky Moore, you've got two other players that they're
Justin
over.
Watson.
Yeah, they're over 100 is no higher than 19 and a half.
Yeah.
So it's like if this is what you expecting from your wide receivers, where's the offense going to come from? And so and as I asked Andy. And I get it. And as we talked about, the press conference for today really wasn't for us. It was more for the international media, even though we did get our fair share of questions. And, but my biggest concern is with what you see from Miami on defense, and I know Andy talked about their offense because their offense can put a stress hold on the defense if you're not careful. But I want Andy to answer what does he see from their defense that could cause them problems, because, it's Andy's not going to be facing their offense. He's going to be facing their defense. And if the wide receivers from the Chiefs can't catch the football, they drop the passes, and turn, as Travis mentioned, turn the ball over, it's not going to matter what their offense does against our defense, because at the end of the day, the score will get out of hand.
Of course, and it's funny you say that just about the wide receivers. They've taken a lot of flack.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, But I've seen people talk about just those wide receivers and them catching the ball and the drops. But people are like, well, you got to put some of the blame on Mahomes.
Oh, of course. Well, look, nobody is above reproach and nobody's above blame. Patrick, Andy, Matt Nagy, all of that. And all of it is, look, I tell people when they, when I like to jump into space and stuff, when people ask me about stuff as it relates to the team, and a lot of times I tell them, there are certain things that I won't talk about in the space in the public setting just because we interact with the players a lot. And, the one thing I will say...
What's up, Mark?
What's going on? Well, the one thing I will say is that, we try to be mindful because, one, when we talk to the players all the time, we get to know them on a personal basis, so we try to make sure that our critique of them is just what we see on the field and not anything personal. And because one of the things that I get curious about, especially when you're talking about these drops, is how much do they actually work on that stuff with Mahomes after practice? Like, you got the set time where you got to work on the plays and work on your drills, but when it's over, are you now trying to rush to get home, get to the barbershop versus additional?
I don't think they are. I mean, everybody has schedules, right? And don't get me wrong, I don't feel like that's an excuse, but you don't see them staying after.
Well, and that's my point, camp. Because because for me, if you see that's where you're lacking, and you're putting it on film so other teams see it, you've got to, as a professional, take it upon yourself to make sure that you put that added extra work in. Because if you're not working on those catches, man, look, as Andy said, when Sky Moore dropped the ball in the end zone, it's because receiver at the last minute, slapped his arm down. I mean, if you're practicing, maybe that doesn't happen. When I say work, I'm sorry. What I mean by that, by working on to where you can catch it from different angles. Where again, look, we've seen a lot of one-handed catches.
Yeah. Different kind of guys. Different kind of guys. What are we expecting to see from this team on Sunday? I think they'll have to adjust to the atmosphere because it's in a soccer stadium. It's going to be almost half the size of Arrowhead, but it's going to be more like home. So you're going to get a lot of Chiefs fans who's going to be there. And kind of reminds me of when the Chiefs played
Mexico.
When they played in L.A.
against the Chargers. Yeah. And the soccer, But I think here, because they're going to be so excited to see two great teams perform. I think once the Chiefs, here's the thing. Hopefully the Chiefs win the coin toss because we saw what they look like when they start off on offense. Yeah. But if they can win the coin toss and elect to defer, and if they can get Miami at least 3 and out, and the Chiefs get a chance to turn the game around or turn the drive around and go down and produce some points. Once I think they can adjust to the crowd noise and the atmosphere, because it's going to be hot like a wrestling stadium, to where it's like, as Andy said, they're going to be cheering on offense and defense the entire time.
And the funny thing, to run into some fans on my flight, and they saw my bag and I have like a KC lanyard or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, you're from Kansas City," in my jacket. I was like, "Yeah, where you guys from?" "Oh, we're from Minnesota." And then some other folks chimed in. "Oh, we're from Milwaukee." And I'm like, Why y'all coming? And they said, well, our team isn't doing good, so we decided to come cheer on the Chiefs.
Whoa.
I said, all right.
That's that good money right there.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of fans. I saw a lot of Dolphins fans, and I saw a lot of Chiefs fans.
Now, what are you expecting from the Chiefs Sunday?
You know what? Just hearing the silence after last week's game while we were in the locker room. Those guys, those guys really, I feel like it really affected them. You know, even though that was a game in the middle of the season where you were expected to win, it really, in the grand scheme of things, it really didn't mean much, but it still affected them, you know. And I think from that standpoint, I feel like all of those guys are going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder, and I feel like we're going to get a chance to see another Petty Mahomes. Not Patty, Petty.
Here's the man. You know, one of the things that you look at is that, talk about them. One, they didn't expect to lose, but. And I really don't like excuses, so I try not to utilize them or at least put it out there. Obviously, we know Mahomes was a little under the weather with the flu and stuff like that. Yeah. But one of the things that you always talk about is the players having fun. And if they feel like they're having fun, they produce, and you can kind of see it translate on the field. That wasn't that way at all. Now, again, I don't know. I don't know if they got the just from, get their vibe or energy from Mahomes and how he plays, because he was a little under the weather. So it wasn't like he was out there just, happy-go-lucky. So we did talk to him today. He did say he's fine. He said he'll have his hand covered and be ready for the game on Sunday. So for me, if they can have that energy and just be excited about, being, again, adjusting to the atmosphere, if, the Chiefs Kingdom and stuff being out there like that, I do like the fact that they should be able to, put on a good show and win the game, because I think at the end of the day, that loss does matter.
It does,
because it was a division loss and it was a conference loss. And of course with this game being on or coming this weekend, I think that at the end of the day, they learn from what happened. And look, and to your point about it being a dominant factor that you asked Mahomes, he says it's not going to happen. I take the man at his word. So now I know he's going to be ready to play. I know Kelsey's going to be ready to play. Question is, and I know Chris Jones is going to be ready to play, and Justin Reed and Harrison Butker. But what about those other players, those younger players? Will they come ready to play, doing what needs to be done, saying as it relates to taking care of business?
Yeah, I 100% agree. And you're only as good as your leader, right? Yeah. So with that being said, I feel like they're going to come out ready to play.
And look, and obviously we haven't talked about the whole Tyreek Hill thing, but I think the Chiefs, I think any of them guys got something ready for them.
I do too. I mean, they know the formula. Who look at who beat you and how they played.
Yeah.
How they played you. So, Mark will definitely give you our predictions and all that stuff coming up.
You got to wait till Sunday for that.
Yeah, Sunday pregame cheat sheet, man. We'll definitely give you all that stuff. But we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It's 7:25 here in Germany. Feels like noon. Everybody hasn't adjusted yet, but I'm good to go.
Oh yeah, man! Look, just said they're ready to play right now.
Yeah, and this is funny because Travis doubled down on that. We ready to go whenever, wherever.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like we can go in the parking lot right now. Like, bruh, we ain't got our suits on, man. Wait, you gotta wait till Sunday for that, man.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we appreciate everyone. What is it, about 1 o'clock in Kansas City right now?
It is almost 1:30 in Kansas City.
1:30, yeah. Well,
make sure you join us Sunday. 2:30, it'll be 2:30 here for us. It'll be 7:30 for you all back in Kansas City. Join us for the pregame cheat sheet. We'll be live from Frankfurt Stadium, getting you ready for kickoff between the Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. Of course, postgame, Steve and I will bring you postgame show. We'll bring you the press conferences and stuff, give you all of the insights, the ins and outs, locker room interviews that we have with the players following the game. And then, of course, Monday, virtually, we'll be doing the Red Hour. So I think Steve will be traveling back. I'll still be here in Germany. We'll be joined by Sean Tyler and DJ Q. So follow us all weekend. We will give you the latest and the greatest, and nobody will bring you more coverage of the Chiefs and the Dolphins from Frankfurt, Germany than the two of us. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day. We out.
Football fans, You can't spell gate without Gates, and great tailgates start with Gates sauces and seasonings. Named synonymous with mouth-watering tailgates. When you make your list of tailgate essentials, add Gates sauces and seasonings to that list. Spice up your tailgate experience with that unmistakable great taste. Available in 4 tantalizing flavors. Classic, sweet and mild, mild and hot. Find it at your local grocer, and if you don't see it, ask for it. Visit GatesBarbecue.com to purchase any of the